It's raining stones, not rocks, not boulders. Stones, fist-sized, light as nothing. Bouncing off the street, off shoulders, off the fountain. A sound like hail, except hail doesn't come in August, and hail isn't warm. You pick one up, hold it. The mountain made this, breathed it into the sky, and now it's in your hand, still warm. And 20,000 people around you still haven't figured out what that means. Nobody running, not yet. Then the ground moves. Not an earthquake, not a shake, a pulse. Once, deep, like something enormous turned over in its sleep 3 kilometers below your feet. The stones stop falling. Everything stops. And in that 1 second of silence, every person on this street understands. At exactly the same moment, all 20,000 of them. Then the column falls, the roar starts, and the silence is gone, and it is never coming back. You already know how this ends. You've known since the moment you woke up this morning. The question is, does knowing make it any easier to watch? You know. The curse always knows, and the curse has never once let you change anything. 6 hours ago, this stone wasn't in your hand yet. 6 hours ago, I woke up inside this city, inside someone else's body, and it was just the morning. The curse does what it always does. Check the hands first. That's the system now. Rough, knuckled, white with something finer than flour, grain dust ground into every crease, burns on the knuckles from a hot stone lip. These hands know the routine. You've survived worse. Then the smell follows. Wood smoke, hot grain, and underneath all of that, something sour, something alive. The kind of sourness that has been sitting in this room a long time. Then the sound, a low rhythmic thud from the back wall, stone striking stone, again and again, as if it began ages before you came and was never meant to end. One oil lamp, low ceiling, pre-dawn dark, the kind that means the city is still asleep but not for long. Borrowed memory slides in, pistrina, Pompeii, morning batch. Knead, shape, slide into the furnace before the street breathes. Then the other memory arrives, the one the curse always delivers, the date. The pistrina is already running when you take stock. 2 millstones turning, enormous, black volcanic basalt, ground from the same mountain you're about to watch end a city. A donkey walks the circle. Same circle as yesterday, same circle as the day before that. It doesn't know anything else, doesn't need to. Grain goes in at the top, the flour comes out at the bottom. The owner, heavyset, already sweating at this hour, shouts about the second batch. Your job, shape, score, slide into the furnace. The oven is built into the back wall, stone arched, radiating heat you feel from 10 feet away. You press the baker's mark into each loaf before it goes in, 8 sections, scored deep. They'll pull those same loaves out of the ash in 1800 years. They'll put them in a museum in Naples. They're still there. You step outside for wood. The Via dell'Abbondanza is waking up. Stepping stones damp across the street channel. As you stepped outside to fetch wood, you saw the city just beginning to wake, unaware that its fate had already been written. A fountain at the corner running water through the city's pipes. You can taste it, faintly metallic, the way all the water here always tastes. Nobody knows why. A man is painting election graffiti on the wall in fresh red paint. Vote for Ignius. He gives good games. Same logic as any campaign ad. Same bribery. Just in stone, and it will outlast him by 2,000 years. The Thermopolium next door lifts its shutters, steam, then the smell of garum. Fermented fish sauce, sharp enough to turn your head. Pompeii runs on it. Personal stake lands with borrowed memory. 3 weeks of back rent owed. Today's wages clear it. If the loaves don't burn, if nothing goes wrong. The mountain is green above the city, covered in summer vines. Bacchus's mountain, they call it. God of wine and abundance. It hasn't made a sound in living memory. You know what nobody on this street knows, and there are a lot of people on this street, 20,000 of them, spread across 64 hectares of the most commercially active city on the Bay of Naples. Traders, bakers, fullers, fishmongers, politicians, slaves, children. A city that runs on garum and grain and gossip and has done so for centuries. The morning moves. You work. Third batch in, second batch out. Your hands repeat it. Knead, fold, quarter turn, shape. Sourdough. Fed every morning, alive longer than you've been in this body. Maybe longer still. Wild yeast living in the flour. Feeding a starter every morning still happens 2,000 years from now. Someone in your city did it today. Unbroken. The line continues. A neighbor woman stops you to argue about her order. 4 loaves. She got 3. You give her the 4th and say nothing. You can't afford the fight. The water carrier passes mid-morning. A kid, younger than you, amphorae on a yoke across both shoulders, soaked through, delivering to households too far or too rich to walk to the fountain. He makes less than you do. You know his name through borrowed memory. You know he won't see sunset. You don't say a word, never do. That's the part of the curse that never gets easier. Lunch, bread, olives from a clay pot, something ladled at the Thermopolium counter, garum and lentils and someone else's morning, eaten standing up, ceramic bowl at the street counter. The afternoon presses in heavy. August, just past 1 p.m. The heat is dense, personal. The eruption that is about to begin will not stop for 25 hours. Then, just before the column, there is a moment. The dogs go first. You notice that. Every dog in Pompeii, at the same second, moving in the same direction. Then the birds. Then a stillness settles over the street that has no name in Latin or in any other language. A stillness that isn't peace. It's the silence of 20,000 animals, human and otherwise, all registering the same rawness at the same moment. Then someone on the street stops and says quietly, "The mountain." Everyone looks up. The column is already 33 kilometers high. Higher than any weather, higher than anything that should be allowed to exist above a city. At first, survivable. That's the cruelest part. The column rises. Pliny the Younger is watching this from across the bay, writing it down, calling it a stone pine tree, which is the closest word he has. You've seen trees. This is not a tree, but it holds. Then the stones start. Pumice, fist-sized, light as nothing, hollow straight through, full of tiny gas bubbles because the mountain breathed them out. Bouncing off rooftops, off shoulders, off the fountain, off the paving stones, sounds like the worst hailstorm you've ever heard. Except it's August, and hail isn't warm. People are holding cushions over their heads, an entire city pressing fabric against the sky, as if that's a plan. The pumice is already a foot deep in the street and climbing. You stayed at the pistrina, thick stone walls. The borrowed memory is clear on what the harbor gives today. Nothing. Pliny the Elder sailed straight toward this coast trying to help people get out. He didn't make it back. Some choose indoors. Stone roof, solid walls. Seems safe, But you know what pumice does to a Roman roof? Someone shuts the door, you staled. The stone in your hand gets warmer. The wrong color sky gets lower. The ground moves, not a shake, a pulse. Once, deep, 3 kilometers below your feet, something enormous shifting. The stones stop falling for 1 second. Everything stops for 1 second. And in that silence, every person on this street understands. At the same moment, all 20,000 of them, the water carrier, the garum seller, the man who painted the election graffiti this morning, the woman who argued about her 4 loaves, the child on the stepping stones, all of them, at once. Then the column falls and the roar starts. And the silence is gone, and it is never coming back. 11 minutes. That's how long it takes to bury the whole city. 120 miles an hour, 700 degrees Fahrenheit, 600 meters thick. It is not fire. The body's cells respond to 300-degree air the only way cells can. It is faster than fear processes. The ash settles, layer by layer. 17 feet over the next 18 hours. 2 more eruptions follow. The entire eruption runs for 25 hours, start to silence. 1 p.m. on August 24th to the following afternoon, Pompeii disappears from the map. No one goes looking. For 1,700 years. In 1748, a construction crew digging near Naples finds a wall, then a fresco, then a skeleton. A guy named Giuseppe Fiorelli is working the site in the 1860s, and he notices something. The ash, when it cooled, hardened around the bodies. The organic matter decomposed, leaving hollow voids, perfect body-shaped spaces inside solid rock. He pours liquid plaster into them. What comes out? The exact shape of every person in the position they died. Curled, hands over faces. A man shielding something who died facing the wall. When they finally count, archaeologists find somewhere between 1,044 and 1,150 bodies across the excavated site. Total deaths, including people they never found, estimated around 2,000 out of a city of 20,000. Most people got out. Nobody knows their names. Nobody knows where they went. History only kept the ones who stayed. The worst one is a garden near the city walls. They named it the Garden of the Fugitives. 13 people, probably a family, found together in the ash, still in the exact positions they were in when the surge hit, still moving, still trying, still running when the surge hit. The casts show outstretched arms, bent knees, heads down, the exact shape of people who didn't stop trying until the very last second. They were so close to the wall. There's a dog, famous now, chained outside a house on the Via dell'Abbondanza, head raised but the chain was 3 feet long, trying to lift itself above the rising pumice. It ran out of chain. In the Pistrina on the Via di Stabia, 2 streets from where you were working, they found 72 carbonized loaves in the oven, the baker's mark still visible, 8 sections scoring, bread set for the morning market. Nobody ever pulled them out. They're sitting in the National Archaeological Museum in Naples right now, under glass. You can go see them today. You can buy a ticket, walk in, and look at bread that has been in an oven for 1,945 years. The bread is still in the oven. It's been there for almost 2,000 years. Nobody's pulling it out. The graffiti survived too, all of it. Election slogans still endorsing dead candidates. Love confessions still burning. On a found wall in the Via dell'Abbondanza. Near the Via dell'Abbondanza, they found a skeleton in a doorway, hands raised, traces of wood ash and grain dust around it. And they called it the Baker. They don't know his name. But before the surge, before the column, before the plaster casts in the museums, there was the night before. August 23rd, 79 AD. The curse gave you the full day. Pompeii at dusk is just a city at dusk. Oil lamps coming on in doorways, one by one. The smell shifting, bread first, then stew, then someone's garlic hitting a hot pan somewhere down the block. A man outside a tavern arguing, loudly, cheerfully, about the upcoming games. Kids jumping the stepping stones, both feet, arms out, counting. A woman hanging laundry from an upper window. The fountain still running, water still cold, still faintly metallic, same as always. The election graffiti fresh and red on the walls, the candidates still campaigning, still promising good games. The mountain enormous and green and utterly still against the last light. Vesuvius, Bacchus, abundance. A mountain this quiet was productive, is covered in vines. That's not a threat. That's furniture. That's been furniture for 18 centuries. You sat outside after the last batch came out, back against the warm stone of the pistrina wall. Dead's still there, grandmother 2 streets over, but the evening, okay, the city, okay. Stars appearing above the roofline, one by one, the mountain dark against them. The same stars you looked at in borrowed eyes last night are the same stars above you right now. Same light, just arriving from 2,000 years further away, and the mountain is still there, smaller. The eruption took the top off, left a different profile, but still green, still called Vesuvius, still watching over Naples. 3 million people living in its shadow today. Nobody is leaving. If you woke up in Pompeii that morning, what would you do? Comment down below.